What's up, everybody? Eric here with another EWE Reviews. Today we're going to be talking about South Park Season 26, Episode 6. This is also the season finale of Season 26, so let's get all into it. But before we get into it, actually, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you thought about this episode. Alright, now let's actually get into it. So the title of this episode is Spring Break. The episode was released on March 29, 2023. As usual, the creators are Matt and Trey Parker, and the runtime of the episode is 22 minutes. So, basic plot of this episode, again, this is the spoiler-free part. We'll have a spoiler section later on in the episode. But based off just the promo that they gave out, it's Spring Break, as it said, and we see Garrison in some MAGA store, and he's having a little rally, and then he gets a call from Rick. So, we're dealing with the MAGA episode. So already I can tell that this is going to turn some people off, so we'll see there. So let's move on now to my spoiler-free thoughts on the episode. So one thing I'd say is, for me personally, I didn't need this episode, just because for me, you're going to need 6 episodes a season. I don't see the need to be able to do Garrison being Trump again, but I get the reason why they did it. It's very topical right now. Trump's really big in the news. For those who, when I'm recording this episode, Trump just got they've indicted? No, not indicted him, but they voted to indict him. So yeah, so I guess it's topical. That's why they did it. Did I need this episode? No. But what was there? The B plot was that. So the A plot of this episode is the Garrison stuff with him and Rick, and then the B plot of the episode, I'm not going to spoil it here, but I actually really enjoyed the B plot because it was just reminded me of, like, oh, sometimes when you get old and you're just like, oh yeah, I can keep doing things. Like, no, you can't. So yeah. Other than that, I guess for a season finale, and I know this show is episodic now, but I do miss the times that those 2 seasons where it was serialized and it was like, oh, we were leading up to something. I think that kind of brought down this episode for me, because it wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. I thought what was there solid, but it was just like, is this really what I wanted for the season finale of South Park? And for all we know, we're getting 2 more Paramount Plus movies. We should be getting those later in the year. If you guys have noticed, when they release them, the episodes are usually around the normal episodes for the season, or like February to March. I think that's how they did it last year. And then I think in May and June is when they have the streaming ones on Paramount. I think that's how it was last year. I might be wrong. Might have been, yeah, I think it was like May and June, something like that is when we got those. So hopefully we'll see those soon. I don't know what topic they're going to do. Hopefully it's not anything political like the one this episode, because I kind of want to see them do other things. I want to see them do like other South Park things that are fun. Alright, so spoiler-free side, yeah, I will say, actually, I'll do a South Park Season 26 review next week. That way I can keep getting more content, so I can explain what I did and didn't like about the season as a whole. I'm not going to put that in this episode. So let's move on to my score for this episode. I'm giving this a 7 out of 10 for good. I didn't think it was bad by any stretch of the imagination, but when you've had 325 episodes, the curve for South Park now, I would say, in order to get like great and amazing, the bar's pretty high, and I don't think this reached that bar for me. But I still enjoyed what I was there. Since with the introduction of Rick in season 25, I actually think he's been a good addition to the characters. Having Garrison in an actual relationship again, I think is gonna work. I mean, who was the last relationship we actually saw him with? Mr. Slave, but even then, it wasn't really about their relationship till like the very end. So I enjoyed that part of it. Alright guys, that's it for... Oh, would I recommend this episode? Yeah, I think people would enjoy it. If you're someone that doesn't want to deal with the politics that's going on right now, I can understand skipping this, don't worry. But for me, I thought it was still fun what was there. Alright guys, so if you're not joining us for the spoiler section, thank you for watching. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you guys thought. Once you watch the episode, hopefully come back and check out the spoiler section. But those of you that are joining for the spoiler section, here's your warning. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright guys, welcome into the spoiler section of this episode. And we're going to go through the entire plot piece by piece, talking about what I thought about it, did it work for me, what didn't work for me. So we start off at the beginning, and we have Garrison showing up and saying like, oh, I'm on spring break to Rick. And he's like, oh, we're going to go on a trip. And the trip turns out to be to Myrtle Beach. And I'm just like, why Myrtle Beach? Like, if you're going on vacation, why there? But there's a reason behind it. And even Rick is like, oh, because there's one of those places. Like, I don't even know if that place is still there. And it's like, oh, that place is like, I don't even want to go do that. I mean, if you saw the trailer, it's the MAGA store. That's one of the. It's kind of like Garrison's going there because he knows the temptations around, and he wants to be around the temptation. He loves his own chaos, so like that makes sense. From there, we actually then go to Sharon and Shelly are leaving for spring break, and Stan and Randy are staying alone. And it's funny because when they're leaving, like, Randy's like, oh, we'll be fine. And then the next scene, you see, like, Randy's already celebrating, like, takes off his underwear. He's like, oh, yeah, spring break. And you see Stan doing a miniature. And it's funny because Randy's like, oh, you can do whatever you want. And Stan's like, oh, can we do 40K? It's like, for Warhammer 40K. And it's a game, and Randy's trying to act like he knows what it is. He's trying to be, like, hip, young, and stuff like that. It's like, Randy, you have no idea what it is. But yeah, that's the B plot right there. We have Randy and Stan's story. Well, it's mostly Randy dealing with getting old. All right, so then we go now to Myrtle Beach, and we see Rick and Garrison having fun. They're walking around, and they eventually reach the MAGA store. And people there already come out like, oh, it's you. And Garrison's trying to be like, no, I don't need to go. I'm fine. But you can tell he's very tempted. Then we go back to Randy, and he is annoyed because now it's Tolkien and Stan playing Warhammer on the kitchen table. And for you guys who don't know what Warhammer is like figure building game, or you make figures and you fight, do things. It's a lot of fun, but these games are like very intense. They take hours, so it was fun just seeing like, okay, this is what Stan wants to do on his spring break. That's cool to me. It's like, yeah, he's a kid. He's not really like he's gonna party. That's like something that I'd say at that age. Even now, that would be a lot of fun to do. All right, so but Randy's really annoyed with it. All right, let's now jump back to Garrison, and Garrison's having trouble sleeping, and he decides to go to the store. At first, he's like, oh, I'm just gonna go check it out. But then you start seeing him, he's starting the party, and it goes into full-on rally mode. And of course, earlier when they were trying to get him to do a rally, the people from that store, but yeah, Garrison ends up doing a rally, and he's getting all into it. All right, and then we go back to Randy for like a quick scene where he's talking to Tolkien's dad. He's like, oh, they're playing Warhammer. Like, he's like, oh, they're not trying to get chicks or anything like that. It's like Randy wants Stan to try and go get laid. It's like, he's like 10 or 11. It's like, calm down. Then let's go back to Garrison. And Garrison's still partying with the rally. He's saying some really messed up things. But it's Garrison saying it, so it made me laugh. I think he says, Joe and the hoe need to leave or something like that. And I was just like, God damn it. It's a catchy line. But, yeah, that's what's going on right there. And then Rick ends up calling him. He ends up lying to Rick. Of course. He's like, oh, no, I just need to walk out, get some air and stuff like that. It's like, no, he's at the MAGA store. Then we go to Garrison the next morning, and him and Rick have plans and things to do, but Garrison's too hungover from partying the night before. So yeah, that ends up happening. Rick ends up going to do stuff the day by himself, and then he goes back to look for Garrison. He can't find him. And then, let's see. All right, and then after he blows off Rick and Rick's doing all his own stuff, we jump back to Randy, and Randy decides to have a party at the house. He has hookers and stuff like that. He's trying to act like he's young. He can't accept the fact that he's older now. Things aren't as great for him as they used to be. Let's go back to Garrison, and now Garrison is at a rally party. Rick ends up showing up, and you see Garrison full on wearing all his old stuff. But yeah, that's where we go in the episode. And then Rick ends up showing up. Rick leaves, and then Garrison tries to fix things with him. But at this point, I'm kind of like, no, Rick should have left him, but Garrison won't accept it. So they tell him, let's just start over tomorrow. So before we actually, like, they're gonna start over the next day. All right, so now let's go to Randy, and he has partied too hard. He ends up breaking his arm. You have paramedics there and everything, but Randy refuses to go to the hospital. He still thinks, no, I can handle this stuff. It's like, Randy, you cannot handle this stuff. So now let's go back to Garrison. Him and Rick are having dinner, and you can tell Garrison's just hungover. He is not handling things. He says he needs to go to the bathroom to throw up. He goes to the bathroom, and then he sees this guy in flip-flops next to him, and he has a little tattoo that says 2024 on it. And sure enough, Garrison decides to have a rally in the bathroom. And it's funny because at first when they show the scene, you think Garrison's getting plowed by the guy. But no, it's just that they're partying. They're saying like, oh yeah, 24, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to take that, we're going to take... It's like, oh my god, Garrison went full-on Garrison. And from here, like, Rick basically leaves. It's just like, it's over. So yeah, now let's... And I'm pretty sure Garrison says something, like, really messed up to him. So now let's go to Randy. And Randy's now in trouble. There's cops showing up. They're basically on top of him, trying to, like, hold him down. And then it turns out that one of the guys that brought the hookers earlier is... I think he's supposed to be, like, Andrew Tate. I think he's supposed to be, like, a surrogate for him. This guy is a mobster or whatever, and they're going after him. It's pretty funny. Randy not getting away with it in the end. So let's now flip over to... he doesn't actually get arrested. They end up leaving him there. Then let's move on now to Garrison, and he's actually giving a speech at a rally. And you see there's Rick listening to it from the airport because Rick's trying to get back home. He gives the speech, and he's in this speech. I will say this is a heartfelt speech where he's like, I don't even know what's going on anymore. I've lost myself. And he even says like he loves Rick, and it's sweet. Because he's basically saying he doesn't want to do this anymore. So it was a good speech. I actually liked it. Then we actually, during the speech, you see that Randy calls Sharon that he needs her. It's really cute. It's like, okay, Randy's realizing he's got himself in problems. But now the MAGA supporters, they end up going with this I love Rick thing. And somehow they turn I love Rick into let's go storm the Capitol again. And I'm just like, of course they would do this. South Park creators, of course, would go with this. Nothing. Alright, so now let's cut back to Randy, and Sharon shows up back home, and she has this funny line where she even says like, oh, you made it longer than last spring break. And I was just like, so Sharon already knew this was gonna happen. And she's like looking at Randy like, you idiot. Then we go to she goes into the side of the house. She gets to the kitchen, and she tells Stan, I thought I told you not to play Warhammer on the kitchen table. And it's like, that's all that she needed to say. And it's like, if Randy was a good parent, he could have said that to Stan, and all problems would have been avoided, and he could have gotten Stan to do other stuff. But nope, Randy's such an idiot parent. So that's the end of Randy's side and Stan for the season. Now let's go back to Garrison. He ends up showing back to the house, and there's Rick. Rick takes him back with open arms. And Garrison says, I don't want to be part of this. And it's kind of like, in meta, they're saying, like, we're not sure if we're going to get Garrison back for next season or not. Because we don't know what's going to happen. Maybe Garrison's going to go back to wanting to be president. So it's kind of our warning it to the audience that, like, we don't know what's going to happen with this character because of what's going on with Donald Trump in real life. So, yeah, guys, I didn't think it was bad. Like I said, I thought it was a good episode. My big problem was that I'm not sure if when you only have 6 episodes, did I really need another Garrison being Trump episode? Where I think we've had enough of those in the past. Where it's like, you guys could try something different. I actually would have thought it would have been fun to go do something with the Warhammer stuff. I thought that was actually really interesting. But yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Please like and subscribe to the channel. And like I said, I'm going to have a season 26 review next week. So watch out for that. I'll also have another Mandalorian next week, and Star Trek Picard should be coming out like Monday or something like that. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.